All right. So this one we are just trying to look at the LM schedule with those old people. For them, if you remember, they didn't say that money demand depended on interest rate. Okay, money demand didn't depend on interest rates at all, and that's the reason why the LM curve is steep. So it doesn't matter the level of y, whether you change interest rate or not, y will still be where it is. Unlike what Keynes said, because money demand depended on interest rates, whenever there's a change in interest rate, it's supposed to affect the level of income. Okay, but money demand is not is independent of interest rate, so it doesn't the LM curve doesn't depend on interest rate at all. And this thing, when I think they were like from the second semester, the macro, this is what you'll be doing for, I think, the first part, the mass, the algebra that you'll be doing. And you'll be proving all these things with the policy implications. Here, we will not really go deeper into, into it. Now, let's look at something called, have you heard the liquidity trap before? Hello.
Hello.
Have you heard liquidity trap before?
Is it the one that can affect the bank?
It has what?
Can it affect a bank?
Liquidity trap. It normally happens when interest rates are very low, extremely low, that people see interest yielding assets are as not profitable. So they all wish they just hold their money, or they will hold their wealth in cash. Okay, when the interest rate becomes very, very, very low. Okay, people hold bonds and all those interest yielding assets because of the interest rate. And if the interest rate is too low, why should we be holding interest rates? Okay, so that's what we call the liquidity trap. Okay, so look at this. Okay, let's start from the money demand and the money supply. In a case where the interest
Hello,
rate is
friend.
Audrey,
Please, can you go over the meaning of the liquidity trap again?
what it basically means is that when interest rates are very low, then individuals only wish to hold their wealth in cash. They just want to hold money. They want to demand money. They don't want to hold any bonds at all in this case, because we assume that your income is either held in bonds, or you can demand your money. And so when the interest rates are very low and people only hold cash, they don't buy bonds. That is where we say that the economy is in the liquidity trap. Is that okay? Audrey?
Hello, please, can you hear me? Sorry, the network was bad. But I think I heard when
Yeah,
you said when interest rates are very low and people only hold cash and not buy bonds.
yes, that is when we say that the economy is in the liquidity trap. Oh, okay. So, in a case where income is very low, okay, when income is very low, it means that money demand too tends to be low, because the amount of money that you demand really depends on your level of income. So at low levels of income, people are not really able to hold much money. So the interest rate too has to be very low to ensure equilibrium in the money market. Okay. When it happens like that, equilibrium is normally seen at this point of the money demand curve. Okay, where the curve is almost like horizontal. The reason is that when there's not much income in the system, we are unable to hold much money. We don't really have money to hold. Okay, so assuming money demand is just like 20, the money supply to must be 20. Okay, it must also be low. And when money demand is equating money supply at a very low point, then that is causing the interest rate to be very low. Okay, so this is where we have the liquidity trap. When you trace this to the LM curve, when the incomes are very low like this, the thing is that the money demand curve is almost like a horizontal line, which means that the money demand doesn't really depend on the level of interest rates. The interest rate is too low that people are just ignoring the effect of the interest rate on the money demand. Okay, so when you trace this to the LM curve, if income should increase, we are still at a point where income is very low. When income should increase, because the people are not really responsive to changes in interest rates, the interest rate too will increase by a very small margin just to restore equilibrium. And that is also making the LM curve almost horizontal. If you remember, we said that the shape of the LM curve depends on the shape of the money demand curve. So because here in the liquidity trap, the money demand curve is almost horizontal. When you go to the LM curve too, it's almost horizontal. But in a case where now income is high, okay, when income is high, people can really hold a lot of money. Okay, so because they are holding too much money, before you can discourage them from holding the money to buy bonds, you really need to increase the interest rate. So at this point, the demand for money care becomes more steeper. Okay, and because it's becoming more steeper, you see that it's making the LM curve to more steeper. Okay, so this is we have the liquidity trap here when incomes are very low. Okay, people don't really see holding bonds as a lucrative venture, so they rather going for holding cash. Okay, so when incomes are very low, the LM curve is almost horizontal. It tends to become steeper when the income is increasing. Is that okay?
Not really.
Okay, what exactly don't you understand?
Can you go over?
Okay. Yara, do you have a specific question?
Oh no, I'm okay.
Or do you know?
Thank you.
Mensa?
Hello, please, I'll be glad if you go over again.
Okay. All right. We are just looking at the liquidity trap, okay? And I'm saying that it is the point where interest rates are too low that people just prefer holding cash. They prefer demanding money to holding bonds, okay? And before that, we said the shape of the LM curve depends on the shape of the money demand. If the money demand curve is steep, then the LM curve too tends to be steep. Okay, it also tends to be steep. Now, when you look at this portion, you see that the income levels are very low. Okay, when income levels are low, it means that money demand too is very low. People don't have money, so how do they demand a lot of money? Okay, people don't really hold a lot of money. So to have equilibrium, interest rates must be low. Okay, interest rate, people are not holding money at all. They don't have much money because their incomes are low. So just assuming you even want to encourage people to hold money, what are you supposed to do? The interest rate must be low before you can hold money. So during those times, during the liquidity trap, it's like people don't really respond much to interest rates. Okay, because their income levels are too low, and then the interest rate too tends to be too low. And as a result, at that point, the demand for money curve is less steeper. Okay, that one is less steeper, which means it doesn't really respond to changes in the interest rates. And the LM curve takes the shape of the money demand curve. Okay, it takes the shape of the money demand curve. So as here, the money demand curve is almost horizontal. The LM curve too is almost horizontal. But in a case where the money demand is more steeper, okay, when it's steep, it means that uh, the LM curve too is supposed to be steep. So when you increase your income, there's going to be an increase in money demand. So because people don't, the money demand curve being steeper means that people they don't really respond to changes in interest rates. So with a small increase in income, then you really need to increase your interest rates so that there can be equilibrium in the market again. Because when income increases, there's an increase in the money demand, which means there's a disequilibrium in the money market. So to induce people to hold less money, you really need to increase your interest rates. Okay, but this time, in these times like this, you see that we said that this is the case where money demand is more interest elastic. Okay, so for these ones, the change in interest rates resulting from a change in income is very small. Okay, it's very small. Is that okay?
Yeah, so what accounts for them is the elasticity, the
Yes,
interest elasticity.
yes. How
Okay.
responsive money demand is. Any question?
No.
Okay. So the next thing is what causes the LM curve to shift. Okay. We are saying money supply can cause the LM curve to shift. Let's use the diagram. Okay, so this was the initial equilibrium in the money market. Okay, so this was our LM curve 2.8. Okay, now there's an increase in the money supply. Okay, because of an increase in the money supply, we are getting a rightward shift in the money supply curve. So now this is going to be the new level of equilibrium in the money market. When you go to the LM curve, now the equilibrium is shifting from point A to point B. Okay, from point A to point. Just know that money supply doesn't depend on interest rates. Okay, it is that's what the curve is vertical. It is irrespective, independent of interest rates. So because of the increase in the money supply, the equilibrium is shifting from A to B. That's why the LM curve is shifting from passing through point A to passing through point B. Okay, so whenever there's an increase in the when we are doing the maths, I mean, we know what is going to happen, but those ones will be using numerical examples. So assuming M0 was like 2000, now M1 is going to be like 2500. So we'll do the math and then we'll really see how the curves are shifting. Okay, but just from this graph, because of the increase, we are moving from equilibrium point A to point B, and that is causing the LM curve to shift from LM0 to LM1. If the money supply is independent of the interest rate, how do you increase shift has because the LM shift, but interest rates now about R1 mainly to ensure equilibrium when money supply increase. Yeah, see, I think when the cost interest is not falling, there's a fall in interest rate because when money supply increases, there's excess supply of money over the demand for money. People are supplying too much money than we are demanding. So to induce people to come and demand more money, you have to reduce the interest rate so that I mean holding bond will not be attractive. So how can people hold more money? By selling their bonds. When you sell your bond, what happens? When you sell bonds, the price of bonds will do what? Uh, my stomach is really worrying. I'm having Marvin,
Yes. Yeah.
my stomach is really aching.
Oh, sorry.